6:15, calling the meeting to order. Let me find the agenda. Okay. The Charter Commission of the City of Cotulla will meet on Thursday, January 26, 2023, 6:15 at City Hall, 202 South Main Street, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meeting subject to the open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Notice of possible quorum of city council members. There may be a quorum of the governing body of the city of Cotulla present at the meeting. Those members of the city council present will take no action on any item and will merely be present and in attendance. Okay, call to order. Roll call. I'm here, Pablo's here, Ty is missing, Juan is here, Elsa's here, Noe's here, Ricky Maldonado is absent also.
Yeah, Ricky emailed me that he had a school board meeting. Ty actually called me, but I missed his call, so he might have been calling me to tell me he wasn't coming. I didn't get to talk to him though.
Yeah.
But the girls did tell me he called.
All right, well, we don't know if it's excused or not. What was what's your pleasure on?
I'll make a motion we excuse both members absent.
I'll second that.
Okay, Pablo, Juan seconded. All in favor of the motion to approve their absences, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, say nay. Okay, it's unanimous to excuse their absences. Okay, pledge allegiance to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we're down to approval of the minutes for the meeting held on Monday, January 9th.
I've gone over the meeting, the minutes, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Noe made the motion, Elsa seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We are now in the workshop portion of our meeting. Charter Commission will conduct a workshop meeting to discuss and work on the proposed home rule charter for the city of Cotulla. The Charter Commission will accept public input and provide an opportunity for citizens attending the meeting to be heard. Tonight, we don't have anybody here yet at this time, but we've got a lot of work to do ourselves.
Okay.
If anybody comes later, we'll hear them out.
Sounds good.
Okay. To start out with, I just hope that we can get things done enough tonight to be able to put this on our agenda for the next meeting, hopefully a week from now,
Okay.
to vote yea or nay on whether to approve the charter, home rule charter. That way it'll give the city time to put it on their agenda to vote on it too.
And that date, the target date was the 9th.
A drop date, I think, was 17th for the city.
17th of February is the end date, or the date that they're targeting?
We're actually gonna need a vote before that. Let me look at the calendar real quick.
I think that's their
The
meeting.
commission's gonna have to vote, it would have to be next week. The meeting is on the 9th of February. We'd have to have a vote prior to the 6th of February, which is a Monday. Because we have to have it on the city council agenda for the council meeting.
So
So,
all
it
this
just-
has to be complete.
We need to answer all of our questions tonight, hopefully,
Okay.
in order to talk about it, discuss it, and vote on it next week,
Okay.
at our next week meeting.
Okay.
Okay, that's just a goal. If we can't do it, we can't do it. But I think with all the information that's given to us, we covered every single page and paragraph in the last several meetings on our own. Now we've got some answers to our questions. Let me start out, if you don't mind, with an email I got, and I guess they sent it only to me because it was from the attorney, and he said privileged communications. So I'm gonna go through it. You can look at it on your draft charter because they're doing it page by page
Okay.
for where he's got his answers.
Okay,
Where should we,
14
page 14.
is the first one with comments. We were concerned about city manager severance and things like that. And that was just his discussion that everything is normal there. It's the intent of this section to dispose of all employment-related claims pursuant to the severance provisions of the contract. It does not negate the contract. So I think that was our big concern. And it limits the type of monetary damages, et cetera. So he thinks it's a good paragraph to leave in,
okay.
as is. The next one was page 19. Down at the bottom on number 4, section 409, prohibited activities, number 4. This is when we were asking about the appearance of impropriety and the,
Okay.
Is it page 19?
19.
No,
I think it's
it's
18.
18.
18.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I think it's,
Well, I know what happened. This is a printout from the attorney. His copy is a draft also. And maybe from adding paragraphs, it slipped everything to the next
to
page.
the next page.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. I didn't look on mine. So
I'm
it'll be your
actually gonna
page
follow along.
18, number 4. You'll have to do that for the next one too.
This is the second question, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow along with you with the email.
It wasn't, it may not follow the email because that's other things as well.
Okay, all right.
But try to. You'll know if we pass anything up that he didn't talk about.
So again, what was that section? 18, section
409, prohibited activities, and subparagraph 4.
No person related within the second degree of affinity or within the third degree of contiguity or any elected officer of the city or to the city manager shall be appointed to any office, position, or clerkship or other service of the city. No person may be considered for appointment or employment under this section if such would create the appearance of impropriety as determined by the city council.
His comments on that say the appearance of impropriety is necessarily broad in its application. The intent of the inclusion of such broad language is to provide the city council with the necessary flexibility to make hard decisions without the intervention of the courts.
Okay.
You also went on to say that most judges don't want to get in the middle of city politics anyway. You want to avoid, the city council wants to avoid the ability of someone challenging the decision to go to court and have a second judge second guess their application. Okay?
I think that section is pretty typical, isn't it? It's pretty common.
Yes, it is. But we were asking questions on anything we had even a hint of a question about, which is okay. The next section was about election results. It's section 504.
Page,
Well, it's 22 on
oh,
his,
okay.
so it may be 21.
What section?
Yeah, I think it's
504.
504.
Yeah, 21.
Okay. 504.
We were asking
Oh,
questions
yes, right.
about why the city or
Plurality.
does plurality instead of majority. And I'm not sure about this. I'm gonna have to ask him another question or get David to check on it. But he says here, the election code sets the plurality standard. Accordingly, if the city required a majority, it would likely violate state law. Additionally, the city is not changing the form of its government, Type A, which does not allow for runoffs where a majority is not obtained by the victorious candidate. So that's straightforward on his verbiage, but I've got the city of Laredo charter right here that I studied also to see how we compare to other city, and Laredo has a majority, and it's a home rule. So I'm not sure what he's referencing,
Yeah.
if we wanted to change it. The
Correct.
way it's reading is plurality, which is the way we're doing it.
And that's the
Except
way
in the
it's
case
written.
of a tie again.
Well, yeah, what is done in the case of a tie? I mean,
I don't remember.
I'm
A
assuming
tie.
it's-
What does it say here?
I don't know
It
what
doesn't-
happened in recent
doesn't
history.
address it.
It doesn't address it even there?
No.
Receiving the highest
Now
number.
is maybe that's
This
something
is
That's-
that
highest number of
Shall be handled in
votes
accordance with.
shall be declared the winner, that's all.
It doesn't say anything about
Nothing, that's it.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure it's rare that it happens, but if it happens,
It's
what is
possible.
the
It's
next?
possible.
What is the next step?
It's always possible.
And this is why we're here to.
Flip the coin?
Or re-election.
I guess a runoff to that.
Well,
Recount the
they
votes.
do a recount first, and then they'd have to get
Another election.
If it is
Have
a
another election
Yes.
or a runoff?
runoff,
Well, it'll be the
Well,
same
it'd be the
people
same
voting
people.
again.
Well, if it's a runoff though, it's just the two
Yeah.
top tied ones.
It'd be doing again the
Majority thing.
same
yeah.
election, yeah. But, probably never happened, but
Right. That was actually
It
the
has
answer
never
when it
happened.
was asked by the city administrator.
well,
It'll never happen. So that was his comment too.
there's always.
It'll never happen.
I mean,
That's what we got.
I've
get one of
seen,
the votes and pick,
I've seen enough things in my
put them all
lifetime.
there and then just take
never
one out
would've
and take it out.
Yeah. But let's don't even go there.
now do you think that's something that we need to, I guess,
So-
be more clear about with
I'm not really trying to change things on this charter, from the way we're doing things.
But I think maybe what would be good is if they would elaborate just a little bit here, what would happen in case of a tie.
and if there's nothing.
And not
in
change it,
place,
but just
where
elaborate on it.
Just-
We can work to see if we can put something in there. In the case that
Because
does
if there is
happen.
a tie, then you have to,
I'll recount and then.
They'd have a recount, and then they'd have to do a new election.
Yeah, but it ought to say it. We'll ask them what they want to do about that
Okay.
impossible thing. When it
Possible,
happens.
but it can happen.
When it happens, not if.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's still a question then. The next one is on section 802, procedures. Talking about the Planning and Zoning Commission.
802.
Yeah, it's my page 31 on his.
I think it's
It's probably 30.
30.
Page 30.
802, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Section 801, 802.
802. It requires a commission member to affirmatively disclose conflicts of interest. If a commissioner has a conflict of interest and fails to declare it, the vote can be challenged in court. Additionally, the city council can overrule a vote of the commission on a 2/3 vote. Chapters 171 and 176 of the Texas Local Government Code impose severe sanctions, including possible criminal offenses, for not disclosing certain conflicts of interest. The intention of this section is to mirror, to some extent, state law, and to create a municipal obligation to disclose such conflicts aside and apart from state law. Another commissioner can raise a conflict where the conflict is not disclosed by the holder thereof, and the commission could refuse to take a vote unless the conflicted member abstains. The city council can also remove the commissioner for cause from the commission. So that sounds to me like it's pretty well taken care of. He doesn't get to exercise his responsibilities or his vote on it if somebody else knows he's got a conflict of interest. So I just soon leave that one alone too. The next page has got the next item, just a general thing there. We were asking about that comprehensive plan, did it exist? And yes, it does.
Okay.
And it's even called that, so it's not a misnamed
Yeah.
item. Yeah, the city has a comprehensive plan, as is the basis for all zoning laws. Comprehensive plan needs to be updated to bring it into alignment with 2023 realities, and they can cost a lot of money to do. I think I've participated in one of them several years back. Just input. The city would likely need to apply for grant funding when it chooses to update. Over the course of years, the city has various documents which, when cobbled together, could be seen as an operating comprehensive plan. Our current zoning laws are in need of serious updating, a concern which is well known to city officials. As is the case with many small communities that have grown during these boom periods, zoning enforcement is typically wanting, and many unapproved non-conforming uses exist, which need to be inventoried and addressed. In short, it is an area of opportunity for improvement in the older sections of town. So, our only concern really was, did they have such a plan?
Yeah,
Yes,
to
they
begin
do.
with, yeah.
So, it's good, as far as I'm concerned. The next item, I believe, is the next page. 902. At the bottom of paragraph 3. Oh, talking about dates. Oh, I remember what this was all about.
It was, wanting
D?
research for 2-year term or 4-year term.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. This is letter D, C, or just all this?
It's
I'm
B, I
trying to
believe.
find, it was,
B.
it was
B.
902.
At the time of the May 2024 election, the 3 newly elected
We were
council
talking about
members.
the term, 2 years as opposed to 4 years.
I'll just read this to you then, his wording. May 6, 2023 is the first uniform election date after the creation of the commission. It is the only date this commission can submit this charter for a vote if the city council orders an election on the charter. This date is set by law and cannot be moved. If the city delays the election to the November 7th date, uniform election date, it will need to dissolve this commission and appoint a new commission to do it at the later date. So, this date is locked in with this commission. If we don't
What was the date?
approve
May
it,
what?
May 6th.
May 6th?
May 6, 2023 is the first uniform election date. Okay. The new commission could be comprised of the same board members on the current commission, just to let you know. You may not get out of the responsibility. So,
I was looking forward to it.
just, get to repeat this whole process. Okay, the second paragraph that he's got here, the manner and staggered terms for the election of aldermen and city mirror what the city currently has in place. This charter does not affect anyone's term who is currently in office. The terms provided by the charter are the same as the current terms, 2 years. Nothing will change as far as terms and elections go, whether or not the charter is approved or not. In short, if the charter is approved, those who are not required to run for office in 2023 will be the only ones affected. The balance of the city council and the mayor will be affected in 2024 if they run for re-election. So it's not putting anybody at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I know that that was something that was in the, from the comments last meeting, but we were talking about term limits and such, and I did some research on several cities. I know San Antonio, they have 2-year terms, and they're maxed out at 4 terms. Houston, Austin has 4-year terms, and they're maxed out at 2. And Houston reflects Austin, and like there's staggered and stuff like that. So just food for thought. I mean, I don't know if this is what we want to go with. We want to keep it the same, or what's your input on that?
Is it right now, we're looking at 2-year terms, right?
Which is what we
And-
currently have.
And they can run
4 times.
4 times? No, they
No,
can
they
run
can
2
run
times.
They're not
They
termed.
they don't
no
have,
limit.
they don't have
Oh, no limit
limits,
on-
right? They don't have
I'm
limits.
just quoting what certain cities in Texas,
Oh, okay.
but they're not termed out. They can run.
There's a
but-
reason why we don't have limits.
Oh, really?
Well, and
Lack of people.
exactly, it's a small community.
Thank you.
Follow and know.
I mean, it's something that
But the
We
rule of
should
thumb,
have a
but the rule of
discussion
thumb
on it.
normally is to try to change every 4 years or every whatever, however long the term is. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to bring new blood in. But you're right, because of the lack of candidates, we don't have very many people that are willing to run for those offices
I read in the
and whatnot.
newspaper today, so I guess Daily or somebody is getting ready for the election, city elections. There's 4 positions, and nobody has applied yet.
Nobody
Oh, wow.
has found. Well,
But nobody's like Cotulla. People will run here. No, just kidding. I'm not sure,
I know Pearsall, and then I looked in Pearsall, they have 3-year terms, but they have a term limit of 2 terms. After serving 6 years, which is 2 terms, are maxed out.
Laredo one, which I really like. I mean, we ought to
You
pattern ours
looked at that, right?
later, not now with this election.
They pay good money, don't they?
They even pay. Yeah, they even pay.
well, we did talk
I don't-
about compensation. I don't know if we ever
We'll
addressed it.
talk about that
Okay,
also.
all right.
But I'm just going through what the attorney's email said first, then we'll get back down to our questions.
I believe in term limits. I really do. But you're right.
No, well,
There's
6
good-
years or 8 years.
Yeah.
I think I served 8.
We might as well just talk about it now too, even though it's not here.
Well, and this is why we're having this
Laredo
discussion.
had, it's just a matter of timing when to do it. For example, Laredo has 4-year terms, so you don't have elections as often. But they got a larger city council too. And they do have term limits too, so that's 8 years, similar to what you were saying, some 2 years
San
for
Antonio
4
and
terms.
Austin, yeah.
But the reason here that I've gotten from several people is, and Paulo, having been in the middle of it, just said it himself. There's not enough people want to run for the job, much less qualified.
Right.
And so, a lot of the councilmen here, or aldermen, put in a lot of their free time coming down here and doing things.
And they wanna do it.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of people that will. We're gonna end up, we'll have vacancies that aren't filled. Nobody files for them. That's why I don't think it'll work
Yeah.
in a small town. If we started getting more people that were interested, I think we'd have more people run, they could change it.
What does Laredo pay?
It didn't say in their charter that, it just says it'll be voted on by the city council. And so I don't know what it is right now. Larry might know, or David.
I know what Dilly pays, because they do pay their council and their mayor, and for a regular meeting, it's about $140. For a special meeting, it's $175. And then, of course, they give them dinner and drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a small town payment
Yeah.
schedule. Laredo, I suspect, is
Probably higher.
significant.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they got the staff and
But-
whatnot as well.
You might be interested
And
to
the
know,
funds.
though, that
Yeah,
Laredo
exactly.
still only has one city council meeting a month that's called for. I'm sure they've got special ones,
I'm sure.
but it's just like our charter, one regular meeting a month. So, I like the idea of term limits, except I don't think it works in our town.
Yeah, there's not a lot of enthusiasm to be a part of the.
It's just like our church. We don't have anybody who wants to work,
Yeah.
except a handful.
Another issue is that there's a learning curve when a new person is elected as a council member. There's probably a 2-year period that it takes for them to learn laws, regulations, and just what they can do in general. So you have a 2-year term. After the 2 years, the gentleman, starts to barely learn what's going on, and then he's up for election again.
Yeah.
And then you have a term limit. You might get 2 good years out of him after he finally learns, and then he might be out, because of his term limit. And then the aspect too of what Mr. Page said, there really isn't a whole lot of people that have the interest to run.
So we can't do 4 years for 2 terms.
Like the other cities.
And that would give them 8 years,
There's other cities
right?
that are 2 years, so don't.
Yeah. San Antonio is 2 years. Austin.
But I
is
think
4
Laredo
years.
is 4 years.
Laredo is 4,
Yeah.
but they've got, it's a city. It's a big city.
But this is 8 years. And how long were you with the city? 8 years.
But I had to run 4 times.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I'd hate to see people run over and over. They, do a.
Remember, maybe you weren't here for this, or remember back to the section on recalling.
It is, isn't it?
See, you're gonna have to have that section in here. We don't have it. Because if you get somebody for 4 years that you can see is not cutting it or is bad news, you can't get rid of him. Because we don't have that in this charter. He's gonna be gone in 2 years and it doesn't matter if it's 2-year terms. So that's the other reason for not going to 4 years.
You might want to compromise with 3.
The way Pearsall has it.
It's always an option, but I wouldn't want to follow Pearsall for anything. And I'm talking about on government level,
No, I know.
not people level.
No, I've been seeing a lot of their work.
Yeah, it's businesses don't like dealing with their government up there. And it's a mess compared to ours. The way our town's being run. It's orderly and not chaotic here.
Oh, and this is why we're here is to, if we think that this is fine, that this works, then, we'll
let's do it.
keep it the same
As
and,
is.
it's up.
I don't foresee a problem. We've had it for so many years that way, and I don't foresee a problem. I was just saying, sometimes I'm more for term limits, but it's understandable that right now, in a small community like this, it's very difficult to.
Right now, maybe 10,
Yeah.
20 years from now,
Right.
when Cotulla is twice its size,
Grow.
maybe we'll have more
And you're
folks.
not far off.
Well-
I don't think you're far off.
And there you go. I mean, we can consider things like that when you have more people.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. This is why we're doing this.
But all I can say is hold on, because I think it's coming.
Convenience brings population.
What's that?
I said that's your catch-22. The population wants convenience.
Yeah.
Convenience will bring the population.
So is that something that we're in agreement with, keeping it as is?
Oh, yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
If that's
I'm
okay.
In the same way.
We
Yeah.
won't go with changing that boat
Okay.
paragraph.
And there's no term limits either in this charter.
Right, yes.
So no term limits and 2-year terms.
Yeah, biggest thing, it is not affecting anybody that's in, and it's not changing it.
I saw there was a question, the question you had asked, and maybe it's in there, but I know you had said that the place numbers and the years that they were voting on were off. Like the even,
Oh,
I saw that. I don't know if that was.
I wasn't even gonna, I was just asking a question. It's not worth changing, personally.
Okay.
The people that are running know. That was it for Steve's comments, the attorney's comments.
Okay.
Now, we can go through our question list and see what he did answer and didn't answer. But we got answers from David and Larry Dovalina also.
Okay.
Before we delve into the questions, though, do you have an idea of whether these cities and towns have the home rule or the other one? You know what we've got?
General.
General. Like Pearsall,
Home rule.
Home rule.
that is home rule. Dilly, are they home rule or not?
No.
General rule.
Pleasanton is home rule.
Hey, Juan, were you tasked to contact these cities and ask about their charter?
Well, I what?
Were you tasked to contact these cities and ask about what kind of government they have? No?
The ones closer to our size and what we're growing into are home
Who is
rule.
that?
Hondo, Uvalde, Pleasanton, Pearsall. So we're not trying to do something here that's not done by other towns our size. That was the main point, to bring that up. Okay. I'll start with my email from January 1st. That was about our first meeting in December that we had questions. The first one was page 4, section 301. I didn't get answers to everything individually.
The composition, selection, and term.
301. Yeah. That's all the same.
And yeah, we just finished discussing that. So
Yeah. The compensation though, that, we didn't discuss it. And I did want to bring up,
section
Like-
303.
yeah, we can do that if we choose. And I'd personally like to see us do it at something similar to what another small town is doing, like Dilly. It's just really, to me, a token amount, but it's enough to make a difference for somebody to be able to run that may not be of the same financial
Means.
place in life. Place in life.
What are your thoughts on the matter?
I would like to see like 150 for attending a meeting, a general meeting, or 200. That would be 200 a month if you didn't have any special meetings. It's just an incentive to me for everybody to show up for a quorum and to be some kind of a token thank you for spending 3 or 4 hours at a council meeting getting yelled at by everybody.
True.
The only
Everybody's on the case.
That sounds good.
the only caveat I have with that is it eventually has to get voted on. Do you think that the people will vote for something like that?
Yes, because they're all in the same situation like we are. That, they want somebody to serve their city, but they don't want to do it. So whoever's doing it, why not?
I mean, it just
It's not a big financial dollar amount.
It's
For all work?
$2,400 a year.
because I mean,
Huh?
$2,400 a year if it's monthly.
Yeah, if it's monthly. And they still have to come down here and sign checks and stuff like that.
It's a headache. It really is. You know, when I was in the school board, and let me tell you, we stayed up for hours and hours. There was times that meetings went until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then it was one of those thankless jobs that nobody really cared about.
Somebody's going to be against you, whatever you decide.
And they were constantly on you all the time, and you would have people in your house every day, either voting for or against, whatever. And I just think, I think compensation is very, very well deserved by these individuals that are there. Now, whether it's $200, we can try $200. It's not like we're going to go broke with 200.
I don't think so. Not when you're talking about the dollars of everything else we're doing here in this town.
So go with the 200?
Well, and
That
if
was
this
just-
change will take place, I think it's going to be beneficial financially. So for the city, so in essence, we can afford to pay.
Yeah, what this is going to bring.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Not going to
Mhm.
So this
definitely
would
when
be
you say it that way.
per city council member, including the mayor.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, the same.
same amount for each.
You want to give a little bit more to the mayor?
Does he work hard? I know.
Yes, he does.
I mean,
No, he does. I know.
I don't.
Make it retroactive.
He quits. How many years?
For the record, guys, this takes effect after the vote. It's like
Oh,
next
really?
year.
yeah.
Nothing
election.
takes place this year.
I would venture to say that 200 is good, and then maybe the mayor 300, just to give him a little more of an incentive because he does.
Yeah,
He does a
goes
lot
to
of
represent the
legwork.
city at different
Oh
places.
yeah, functions and stuff.
This is not paying for any of that other stuff.
Right.
What we're talking about here is just payment for attending
Yeah,
a meeting,
right.
a regular
Yeah.
scheduled meeting.
Yeah,
Well,
but I'm saying
and-
because he goes
When they-
out
And
more
on the
and
special?
When
He
they go to
does.
TML
City.
conferences.
Oh
they
yeah,
get
he does do all that.
compensated
Yeah.
for that.
They,
over here on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
give him a little bit
the
more.
city pays for everything, their per diems and their hotel and.
So they do get compensated when they
Just
go to
not his
TML.
time.
No, they don't get
Not the
compensated. They pay for their.
Oh, so they
They get
the city-
reimbursed,
yeah.
but not
Oh, it's not
compensated.
where they itemize everything and then they submit it to the city.
No, we pay it,
City covers the full cost.
Okay.
It's cost, not your time,
that's right.
or not their
It's
time.
per diem.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it is.
It is not payment for your services or their services. So, I don't know, did y'all want to then recommend the 300 for the mayor and 200 for council? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Well,
I want to write it down.
I mean,
I just think also, if you started here, then a few years down the line, they're gonna say, well, can we go a little higher? Or can we go a little?
One of,
And
one of the issues with that, so if you're gonna establish a payment per meeting, and that's perfectly fine. So later on, if the charter changes and you, the commission decides to up that dollar amount, it goes to council approves that.
Yeah.
The current council that's there will not get a benefit from it, it'll be the new council.
oh,
comes
is
in.
that right?
Right.
So after a new election, that's when that would take
Yeah.
effect.
it won't be, it'll be after that election.
So a sitting council member can't say, okay, well, I want to raise $1,000 a month. It's just, it won't happen.
Also, remember how they would get a raise? That's kind of not even an issue here. We're worried about it. They vote themselves a raise. No, they don't.
No.
This is set into the charter. To get a raise, they've got to revise the charter. That's going through this commission again.
That's right.
And a vote by the general public to approve it.
Jeez.
They're not gonna
Ultimately,
do
the
it
general
to
public
raise
is
it.
going to, yeah.
$100 a meeting. They may change it for other things that are more important.
And you know what, going back to people that don't want to run for office, maybe that would be an incentive.
An incentive.
Yeah.
It would be an incentive, someone out there that's willing to say, you know what, I want to be a part of that. And you know, the $200 would help me. You know, if I'm going to go spend 2 hours, 3 hours there going over documents and going over the meeting and whatnot, you know, I want to be compensated for it. And I think it would help. What do you think?
I'm just thinking, I don't know if folks would approve that. Because
We won't-
money is being thrown out.
We won't know until it's out there.
But
That is
well,
such a
Yeah,
minor.
but the thing is, I don't think that people even give it a thought right now, because they don't think, oh, somebody's doing it and they don't care.
So what's the difference between a councilman versus a
Commissioner.
commissioner? Like,
Exactly.
Exactly.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, but they serve the community, and I understand that. But if $200 compared to, you understand what I'm saying, right?
I want to speak as a citizen.
Yes, sir.
So for
That's what I
me-
want to hear.
For me, I think it's detrimental to the city, and I don't think it's gonna help. And my reasoning for that is that, yes, we'll have more people run, and the administration will change, but now we're gonna have people that don't know what's going on, and it's gonna hurt the growth of the city. So I'm not gonna put out any names, but we can look at some other cities in our region that have things like this in term limits, and we can see where they're sitting currently compared to where we're sitting. You know, this city's gone through a huge growth since 2010. I think every city within our region has had the exact same opportunities we have as far as the whole field. Okay, but the changes is the learning curve, you know. It is good to have new blood and all that, but if it happens all at once, it hurts the city. Because then you have a council that just doesn't know what's going on or what to do or how to react.
But it's going to be an election. So people will then, at that point, are the ones that will make the determination during the election,
Yeah,
whether that person's going to serve or not.
true.
And
So I am partly wrong on that aspect, but I fear the learning curve is what it is.
yeah,
So-
it is.
So as a citizen,
Right.
what would be your opinion on council members, mayors getting paid?
Myself, I don't think it's a problem. They do offer their time. They do sit in meetings. We do go look for them to have checks signed. They have responsibilities. 80% of the responsibilities at the table, though. You know, currently is how it is, and the way the administration is run. Their job is at the table, at the meeting. Now, some are more involved, some are not. You know, and that's their discretion. You know, of course, that's all part of it. you know, they come in to learn about what we're gonna talk about at the meeting, and sign checks. You know, and give their ideas of how they think the city should move forward. And that's what I see.
But wouldn't it be a token of appreciation for what they're doing? You know, I really felt offended when I served for about 10 years in the school board. And then people calling me all kinds of names because I didn't vote on their item or whatever the case. Yeah, I was never compensated for doing that.
Well, I'm not against the compensation part, you know, I'm just saying maybe it should be comparable to what some of our other small cities get.
And you're right.
To reflect.
No, you're right. You're right. That I understand. But I think you recommended, or you mentioned $200.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about $200 is really not a big. It's not a salary. It's not a.
Buy a coffee for a month.
Yeah.
The other, and this is maybe a little offline about talking about the salaries, but you take into consideration the commissioners in the county having a $25 million budget, where the city has a $6 million budget.
So should we be getting a quarter of what they're getting
Well,
for our councilman? That's what you're saying.
But do we see an influx of money coming in once this is done?
well, with sales tax.
Hypothetically, right?
Yes.
Hypothetically, we do see
We
some
do.
monies.
Was that
Higher
pilot
revenue.
in lieu of taxes?
Yeah, that's right,
Money coming in lieu of taxes.
that's right.
So there is money coming in from this charter.
And this is why we have these conversations. I mean,
I just think
something-
a token is a token of appreciation is good.
Now,
I don't want to say 200 is the number that we're looking for, but if 200 is what we agree on, 200 is good.
I think 200 was the numbers that Dilly were done a long time ago. Then, if you were to use the same thought process, it would be a lot more than that now.
well, I mean, if we're going to do this, yeah, the amount is the next thing. I know you had mentioned 300 for the mayor. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the mayor should be a little bit more than the regular councilman.
Edson,
I think I agree with.
I mean, I
Paige and
truly want to get people's
Mr.
opinions on
Gonzalez
this. I
and
mean,
Mr.
now is this something that we want to decide tonight?
Well, to be honest with you, when I read that the mayor, if the city manager leaves, who's responsible for running the city? The mayor is. So I would think that if he's got those kind of responsibilities, I really think that maybe he should get a little bit. I'm not talking. We're talking $100. That's $3,600 a year.
I think city ordinance has it spelled out to where the mayor would run the city without any pay at all. The actual city ordinance currently.
Right. He wouldn't be getting paid for that.
But
The 300 we're talking about is to go to a meeting.
Right, right.
It's
And
not
other
payment for
duties
anything.
that entails being.
Go to,
No,
and in
that's
case of
payment
the-
for showing up at a meeting.
In the case of the mayor, would be to preside over the meeting. Over and
Yeah.
above everybody, just,
Yeah, he's got to show up too,
yeah.
as he's part of the quorum if they have a shortage, or isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he counts as part of the
Sure.
quorum.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's obligated.
we're just paying, this conversation we're talking about now is just for showing up. It's not even every month
Attendance.
deal.
That's right.
If they don't
If they
come,
don't
they
show.
don't get the dollar amount.
If they don't have a quorum, they don't get that dollar.
No one gets paid. Is it something that you all want to decide on tonight, or is it something you want to sleep on for next time, or?
I think we should
I've decided.
propose something tonight
Okay.
so that we can vote or decide what we want to approve next week.
Yeah, well, propose
Well,
the 300 and 200.
Is there any other citizens that have anything else to say on the matter? Okay. Then let's,
We've got a proposal here for 300 and for the mayor, 200 for council.
Okay.
Second on
I'll
that?
second it.
Elsa?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, we would like to add that to this section 3.03,
Excuse me.
and if it affects the mayor in his paragraph also. He's got a separate paragraph.
Okay, so, this will be added onto the charter
Yes,
on compensation, which is section 303.
3.03, and it may be something for the mayor too.
Yeah, the following,
That,
what does
yeah,
it say?
4, section 4, be 3.04, paragraph 4.
Which one is it, 304?
It's for the mayor.
Yes, it's section 3.04, mayor,
Yeah,
and
it
then
says
down
salary.
to paragraph 4.
Okay. The mayor shall not receive a salary for this position. The mayor is eligible for reimbursement of actual expenses incurred in the manner prescribed for the city council members.
But this is
Well, this is obviously gonna change, no?
meeting
No, it wouldn't be a
attendance.
salary.
You would add a meeting
okay.
attendance.
This would just be for attendance.
Per meeting, attended. It's not per meeting if you don't show up, it's only if you attend.
Okay. Are we gonna, I guess, talk about the wording and how we're gonna put that on there? Or is that something we should
So
sleep
let's
on?
let's
Steve.
let Steve do that.
Okay,
He's the guy that put this together, and he can
okay.
reword that too.
It'll still say the mayor shall not receive a salary.
And he's not receiving. It's not a salary.
Okay.
I don't know what you want to call it, but
Stipend?
yeah. Okay. Well, see, I told you it was gonna be a long meeting.
Hey,
Might be.
I mean,
Conchi,
we're okay.
We had a question, number 13 there, it says, do the city, and this is section 3.16, 3.16,
General ordinances, page 9.
yeah. Yes. And we were talking about number 3, the city attorney.
The city attorney shall approve ordinances submitted to the city council for adoption as the legality thereof, or shall file with the city secretary a written legal objection thereof. Evidence of the legal approval of said ordinance shall be by notation on the ordinance itself.
What is it, 314, is that what you said? Or-
Yes, page 9, section
360.
Oh,
3.16,
3.6.
Number 3.
number 3. This does need to be reworded, in my opinion,
Okay.
changed. Because that doesn't really spell out how the city attorney is supposed to say things or render an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, the city attorney does not approve.
So it would,
He approves as to form, is the wording that I got. Approves as to form. It needs to be corrected. Is all he's doing is letting the council know if it's okay to say it that way.
okay.
So you want to change the city attorney shall approve as to form?
Yes. Or something to that effect.
Okay.
And submit to the city council for adoption?
Yes. Not send it to him, okay.
Shall approve, Mr. Form, and submit to the city council for adoption.
Yeah, it's ordinance submitted to the council for
Right.
adoption, but he needs to give his approval as to form. Or written legal objection thereof, if he doesn't think they're right. Okay, that takes it away that he's not really approving the actual ordinance. Y'all agree to that change?
Sure.
Yes.
How was the wording again?
Well, it stays,
Approves as to form.
the city attorney shall approve as to form all ordinances submitted to the city council for adoption,
And submit, okay.
et cetera. No changes to anything else. Okay?
Yes.
We agreed on that also,
Yes, sir.
all of us. All right. The page 13, we already talked about in our discussion with Steve's comments. Then we go to my second email after the meeting we had in January 9th meeting. My email was dated the 18th of January. Picks up on page 14, clarify what section 4.01 4E. There was no problem with that in my discussion with city manager.
4.01.
Yeah, it's page 14.
Probably 13 hours.
Okay.
That is my
13.
14.
Okay.
Oh,
City manager.
yes. It's E. Oh, let me see.
Or designate an appropriate.
401 4E. E is on page 14.
If the contract for employment fixes an amount of terms of severance payments, in the case of termination, then such severance payments shall be considered fully liquidated as to any and all monetary claims arising therein.
Yeah, that was stuff that Steve also commented on in his letter.
Okay.
We were talking about that. There's not a problem with it as far as our city manager thinks either.
So stays
So there's not a problem with that. Steve did say they were gonna fix all of the typos and stuff like that. That's not what this draft is about.
Late night of typing up the draft.
Page 17, number 3.
How about on 14, we had that there was an inconsistency on K.
That's what I was commenting at. They're
Oh, okay.
They're gonna fix
Okay,
their
okay,
typos.
sorry. Yes.
17.
He took offense that I was pointing out his typos.
Sorry, okay.
One of our city departments.
And the next one was?
Which one? Number 3?
Number 3.
Is we're gonna have to get this thing back from him by our next meeting. He will be off of his vacation in about 2 or 3 days. So next week, he's gonna be looking at this rapidly to get it in our hands by Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're not changing the plurality thing. Nothing going down.
Can you see that?
What?
The font on that, no.
Oh, no, man, this David printed it out for
Your
me.
magnifying glass.
I think he printed it off his phone.
Maybe so.
That was that
That
email
David,
you
yeah.
printed.
It's like a
I'm
2
kidding.
or a 3. No.
I've got a bigger one if you need to see it, but
Is it your question list, E.T.? that you're
Yes.
looking at? Would you
Yeah.
like to see it here? It
No,
might be
no,
good.
I'm reading
Oh,
it
you
just
have it?
fine. I just have my glasses on.
Okay.
And what question was that, E.T.?
I'll let you look at the big one. I was looking at, I doing down the list. Not everything even applies. It got answered. Like page 18, number 4 on that question list. Page 18, section 409, 4. Verify what it means. Steve talked about that. We talked about it. It gives the council the ability to determine appearance of impropriety intentionally.
So we're gonna leave as is, right? We had-
Yeah, and we talked about leaving it. The plurality on number 5. We talked about that and decided to leave it plurality and not
Mess with
majority,
it.
but we also asked them to comment about fixing it in case there's a tie.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea. Number 6 was not a big deal. Number 7, that was a typo thing. He fixed it. So, just getting under his skin, I guess. But if he hadn't been pointed it out, he may have missed it again.
Yeah.
Number 8, page 30, we talked about it. And that's where we're not locked in. Oh, the city cannot vet. That wasn't really our question, but I found out the city cannot vet. It's illegal for them to
There's-
vet
Yeah. And that's what we were,
Candidate?
candidates.
and that's what we were talking about. I mean, there's legal language saying that you can't do that, obviously. You can't do that.
Other individuals can say something if there's a known problem,
Okay.
but there's a lot of things the cities cannot ask candidates. It's illegal to.
Hopefully the candidates use the integrity system.
Yeah, but if somebody knows there's a problem, they can take it to court. Or to the council. The council may not seat somebody that's a known problem after it's been pointed out. That was the whole reason for a lot of these other statements that we were questioning, why the council has got it in this charter. So they can take action. Okay, so that gets us down to number 9. We talked about that also. The comprehensive plan does exist, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. It needs to be where it is in this charter.
Section 901.
Section 803.
Oh, it's-
Talking about the comprehensive plan. We just asked if the city had one. Yes, they do. It is the correct name. It's not something that will be created later. It's always getting updated
No.
later, but it's not created. Page number 10 was one of the things he said, we'll fix it when we smooth it out and print it. Number 11 was what we talked about on when it takes effect, and how it
Yeah.
affects existing
The audit even.
councilman and mayor. It's fine the way it is. We talked about whether we should make it 4 years or not, and we decided to leave it at 2 with unlimited terms. All this can get changed if the future city citizens want to change it. But I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel completely here tonight.
Well, hopefully by then, the city will be twice its size and we'll have a lot more folks wanting to participate in being in city council and getting involved in city government.
That was all the questions that we had on that, from that last meeting. So, I don't think there are any more questions that we,
E.T., why do they, is it the, only the mayor or the councilman that can apply for a job with the city? Because they have to have a moratorium of 5 years, is that what I read? I think I brought that
I'm
up.
pretty sure that's what you read.
And honestly, I think every other agency, or any major agency, allows you a 1-year moratorium. But maybe 1 year is too soon. Maybe use 2 years instead of 5-year moratorium.
So that would be a question that we need to ask Steve. What's the reasoning behind the 5 years?
Check with the other cities. Check with Pearsall.
And if there's
Oh, no, they
something-
go in the next day.
No, Hondo or Carrizo Springs or Pleasant.
Well, you got a good point, though. I mean, 5 years
It's a long
is
time.
excessive.
Like you had mentioned earlier, I mean, it's, you know, there's maybe talent that you want to keep within the city pool, and they're not going to wait for a job here.
Yeah, they're gonna go
5
somewhere
years,
else
They're going to go
and-
somewhere else, and you've lost that
City.
talent. So, I mean, obviously, if there's a legal precedent as to why you have to wait 5 years, of course, we're going to honor that. But I mean, if there's a way to amend that, maybe that's something that we need to discuss.
I like having something. Otherwise, you know, get the council to vote you in as city manager
The next,
the next day,
I've seen
and
it
that's
happen.
not so
Well,
hot.
Yeah.
That's not good at all. And there might be a legal requirement to state 5 years.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just have to ask that question,
I'm looking for it right now. Hopefully I can find
Yeah, I mean, if there's,
okay?
obviously, if there's,
No former mayor or
Legal
council member shall
precedent
hold
and
any compensated
honor that.
appointee
but I mean, if there's
office or
something that-
city employment until 5 years after the expiration of the last term to which they were elected.
What I'm looking for, because I think our current ordinance is a year. And that's
A
what I'm
year?
That's what I'm trying to find right now.
Now, that would seem more realistic.
What's the difference?
So then we would have to
He
update this one?
thinks it's currently 1 year.
Oh,
If it's a year?
Well, you wouldn't have to update it. You can be more stringent than what the ordinance is.
Oh,
That-
okay.
that well, let me look.
That's what I was gonna say, I mean, if
You
that's
can't,
saying
yeah,
one
you
thing.
couldn't go past what the ordinance is. But let me make sure.
Yeah, the ordinance
Might
could
take a
not
couple minutes to
exceed the
see it.
charter.
Oh, we had good discussion thus far.
What was your thinking on what it should be?
Probably a year, and if we need to go 2 years, well, we'll go 2 years, but 5 years to me is a long time.
I think 2 years would,
even a year. Who's going to wait a
Think-
year? And
Because this is anything, this could be a dog catcher. I mean,
Well,
It's not
actually, it was, I think it was saying the council members and the mayor. I think that's what it said, right? The council?
Oh, yes. If-
no former mayor
Mayor and
or council
council member.
member
Yeah.
Yeah.
shall hold any compensated appointive office. What is the appointive? Is that any employee?
And that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that they can't be hired.
Well, currently there is, I'm looking for it, but there is a time period that a mayor and a council couldn't run, or couldn't be an employee or staff of the city. But in the same hand too, I can't run as mayor or council, even though it's probably legal throughout the country. It's here saying that it's not allowed to vote.
No, but what I'm
for
saying,
anyone.
David, it's like, say I'm the mayor today, and then 4 years down the line, I'm no longer a mayor. Do I have to wait 5 years to be able to? That's what this is.
Yeah.
Now, but you were saying maybe
it's about 1
there's a
year.
difference.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. We may have to refer to Steve as a question and he can reply pretty
Yeah,
quick in
maybe
email.
that's a question
But
that
I'm
we
looking
need to
for it
ask.
here. I'm
to
gonna
get
keep
more-
looking as you guys progress.
Get more clarification, and if it's something that we can change, if if there's no legal requirement saying that they have to
Right.
wait, then,
5 years.
because, I mean, you brought up that point that, I mean, if you want to retain talent
You're gonna go
and they're
someplace
waiting
else.
5 years, then,
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna go somewhere else. I mean, they have to put food on the table, so.
But 1 year automatically changes a lot to keep it more up above board, because you have new council members by then too,
Yeah.
at least half of them.
Yeah.
We got a year. If we're gonna wait a year, then
You're right. You're right.
That's right, that's right. Well, we will ask that of Steve.
Okay.
we need a motion.
Oh, set
Yes.
up, for the meetings.
Second?
When are we,
Well,
when are we having the next meeting?
to change it to 1 if we can. Is that the motion?
Yes.
You changed it.
Noe, did you make that?
No,
no.
Change
no, I was
Oh,
gonna.
you-
he was
my
adjourning.
motion was to adjourn.
I didn't hear that.
his motion,
Well, I make a motion to 1.
well,
1
Okay,
year.
then I second.
Okay, and Elsa second.
Did you have?
We're gonna
Discussion.
change
no,
3091 to 1 year instead of 5, if it's legal.
the only,
If
the
it's
only
legal.
thing I have with that is that we haven't got the answer to the question.
But that's what he's gonna.
Well, that's what I said,
That's
if
gonna
legal.
ask Steve, right?
That's gonna be the answer to the question. Is it legal or not?
I don't know, do you think we should wait till we get the answer before we?
We
I'm
motion.
just-
What are the cons and
But we're not
pros?
making the change yet.
No.
We're not making the, we're just kinda adding, we're gonna.
That will be
take
the
it down.
change if
And if he
it's
says no, then
possible.
we just don't.
Okay.
Maybe there's a case of somewhere that makes it better to be 5 years. I don't know what the case is. but
Yeah. And he can make the case when he gives us the answer, is it legal or not? What's gonna happen, the way I see it, is we're gonna be given the smooth document at our next meeting to say, hey, this is what we want to approve or not. And we don't have to approve it, but what I'm gonna say, we're gonna look at it before the meeting to see if it's what we were talking about. And if we don't like one paragraph in it, we can still approve it to send it on with that change.
Yeah, with the amendment.
So that's what I'm talking about. We can change it that night and make the notation.
Okay.
This is what we approved to send on. You okay with that?
Yeah, Pablo. Pablo was way ahead of us.
Make a motion to
was
We're not
He was
yet,
adjourning
guys.
already.
We're not through. All the questions were answered that we asked at our last meeting. That part
I
is
think it's
done.
good.
Do you have any more questions that we didn't talk about that, in
Just-
addition to these two?
When is the next meeting?
That's a good third question. I would like to make it next Thursday. Same time.
The second,
What's next Thursday?
the second,
Yes,
Next Thursday,
not already?
February 2nd.
The second,
February
February 2nd,
Yes,
Groundhog
ma'am.
Day?
Groundhog Day.
We're gonna keep on
I
having
don't
that-
celebrate Groundhog Day.
Is it a holiday?
Make it one.
We can't make it, that's right.
Is February 2nd okay?
I won't be able to be here for that meeting.
You won't?
I'm gonna be out of town till, not, the following week, so.
En
If you
serio?
go ahead and do that, that's fine.
I'm gonna be in San
That's
Antonio.
getting too late.
Yeah,
The following would be the
and that's why,
ninth.
because I mean, you can set up the meeting, I'm gonna be out of town.
We're gonna miss you.
Zoom meeting?
Yes.
I actually, I have a conflict that day also. I'm gonna be in San Antonio with, San Antonio River Authority, and I can't change the date on that.
So
What
then
about
the
a Friday
ninth.
meeting?
It's better.
Oh, okay. I'm usually off that day and what a time.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I do on Fridays, but
I mean, so the
Wednesday.
date that
Ugh, church.
that we're trying to get this.
unless we do it right after church, and we've got to
rounded
do
off
it.
is the
We
9th,
have to
is
meet.
that what, or the 6th?
Actually, agenda would be created on that prior Monday, so we would have to have a vote by February 3rd. And on the 6th, Bianca would add to the
Saturday,
agenda. would
Friday,
come
by
council.
Friday.
So it has to be by.
See, that's why,
By
that's the
Thursday.
deal. The agenda has to get put out for the city.
Unless we do it on
The 30th would
Tuesday,
be-
but is that too early?
Wednesday
They
also.
wouldn't have
I don't
enough
even think
time.
we're gonna get feedback from Steve by the Tuesday.
Next Tuesday you're talking about, right?
Right. He won't even be home till this weekend,
Conflict Monday, Tuesday.
Sunday.
Wednesday.
Is there any way that we can extend that, David?
Extend.
Another thing that we could possibly do, of course, we have to get the council in agreement, but we could have a special meeting after the 9th, maybe the week after.
That's a good way to let things die.
Right. So, but then you're not, obviously, it's not a scheduled meeting time, and it's, people are not seeing it.
Right.
And a special meeting, we need
So,
more.
Tuesday or Wednesday next week would be good for the
So
city.
are you gonna be here Tuesday?
No, I'm gonna be gone.
The whole week?
I leave tomorrow morning at 6. And I
Oh.
won't be back to the following Monday. So, I mean, that's up to y'all.
On the 6th?
Well, you got all your input in on our
And,
regular
you know,
meetings.
that's really what I wanted.
It's a formality.
Yeah,
So we keep it for Thursday.
you can soldier on with
I would, if
Do you
you
have
can't
someone
be here, you're not
Well,
obligated to be here, are you?
a little bit.
Your boss is telling you to be here?
But can you designate someone else, or can they designate
Yeah,
someone else?
I can talk to Mr. Dovalina about doing that. And there's a chance I could make it back. My meeting's at 2 o'clock in San Antonio, but I don't know how long it's gonna run. And it's a forum, kinda like what we're doing here right now.
Is it on the south side, the north side?
It's gonna be downtown off of Gunter.
Can we change our meeting time to like 7?
Then I could make it back more likely.
That's fine.
That's fine.
7 o'clock, okay, we,
Yes, sir.
We're good.
So 7:15.
maybe that's
Next-
problem solved.
Thursday, next Thursday. at
Thursday at 7 PM, February 2nd. Man, we agreed on something else.
So moved.
Did you want to make a motion?
Second. Second. All in favor?
To adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next Thursday at 7, if not sooner.